Welcome to State and Fig, located in historic La Arcada Plaza in downtown Santa Barbara.
Our menu focuses on products that are raised in the state of California, inspired by the flavors of the Riviera.
And we are proud to be sponsoring this program.
I'm attorney Gregory Lowe. I will prepare your trust, bankruptcy, divorce, conservatorship, probate, evictions. All of this I can do at an affordable price and with caring. Thank you very much.
When I was growing up as a kid, I used to go around with him and watch him.
My mother and I both worked at Lowry Field.
To keep on doing this together.
Get Conscious Now is proud to be sponsored by American Riviera Bank. It's our bank, and we feel good about it.
Hi, I'm Kelly Brandenburg. I've been a stylist for the last 15 years. I'm a color specialist, as well as I provide a wide variety of other services. You can find me at 19 Blue Salon in the heart of downtown. I'm happy to be a sponsor of Get Conscious Now.
Hello, and blessings of the season. I'm Patricia DiOrio, and this is Get Conscious Now. Welcome to the out-of-the-box inspirational talk show about what it means to live life consciously in today's crazy world. Today's episode is about gratitude and money. Great topic for the season, wouldn't you agree? And our guest is an amazing woman who's an expert in both arenas. But before you meet her, I want to introduce our very charming co-host, Stu Zimmerman, who always has a bright smile and warm, witty words of welcome for you. Hi, darling.
Hi, sweetie. Thank you, as always.
As always, Stu. It's so fun.
Yeah, it truly is. Hi, everyone. Welcome back. And if you're new to the program, welcome for the first time. When we're talking about consciousness here, it's more than just simply a concept. It's really an energetic experience. It's a sense of presence. And the more that we can really tune in to what this is, what our lives are, and what we're capable of, and how much we could possibly enjoy it, it comes with a sense of well-being that is truly unlike any other. And that really is the purpose of this program. If you've missed any of our programs, you get to come to YouTube. We have our own channel. Just search Get Conscious Now, and you can find our programs. We've had the Deepak Chopra, Reverend Michael Beckwith. We've had a host of incredible, entertaining, and informative programs. I know that you'll both get something out of intellectually and also emotionally, and hopefully even practically. To that point, it does take a little bit of a village here to put on this program. And we are here on this public access station, Channel 17. And this is where I get to ask for your help to make this program even go to the next level. Now, we are supported by a nonprofit foundation, an educational foundation called Share the Wealth Foundation. And this program, Get Conscious Now, is an approved project of Share the Wealth Foundation. And its tagline is, "Wealth is a rainbow. Money is a color." And we offer a wealth of all kinds of information here. We're asking you to come to our website. At sharethewealthfoundation.com, you will see that Get Conscious Now, our television show, is an approved project. And we're inviting you to click on a little donate button, do a PayPal thing with us, and help to support this program because we could use it. And we want to take it to the next level, and we want you to be a part of it. So please do. And with that, we have a great show in store. And Patricia, why don't you share with us who our guest is?
I will. But first, I want to take this opportunity, Stu Zimmerman, to thank you, express my gratitude to you for being in my life and for co-hosting this very important show. We're doing amazing work together. So I just want to acknowledge you to all of our audience, to let them know that you really bring an element of fun and humor and wit and laughter to the conversation. And I just want you to know how much I appreciate that. And I think we're a great team, and we're told that we're a great team.
Well, in that case, I believe it too. and thank you, Patricia.
You're welcome.
Thank you for inviting me on the program to begin with. And we're now doing our, 18th, 19th episode, something like that. And it's truly a blessing for me to have this platform to share with you and be on this amazing exploration.
Great.
Yeah,
Good.
thank you.
So today's show is on gratitude and money. And I don't know about you, but it seems to me that the gratitude conversation is so much more prevalent today than it's ever been before. Many more articles and books are written on gratitude. Every spiritual practice I'm aware of has a component of gratitude as a part of it. And there's a really big movement now in writing in a gratitude journal. Every day writing 5 blessings in our lives that we're grateful for, and even blessings that haven't even happened yet. So gratitude is definitely in the air. And our guest today is the perfect guest because she really shows how gratitude is critically important to another very important element of life, and that is money. Our guest is Natalie Pace, who I call a financial guru of sorts. She is a best-selling author. Her 2 books on Amazon bestsellers are ABCs of Money and You versus Wall Street. She's also the author of Put Your Money Where Your Heart Is. I love that. And her newest book is The Gratitude Game, 21 Days to a Healthier, Wealthier, More Beautiful You. So I'm really delighted to welcome her today, but before you meet her, I just want to give you a very, very quick overview of some of her accomplishments. She is also, in addition to being a prolific author, she is also the founder and CEO of the Women's Investment Network. She is a regular blogger on HuffingtonPost.com, and she's a return guest on many TV and radio shows, including Good Morning America, CNBC, ABC TV, Forbes.com, NPR, and more. As a believer in giving back, she has been responsible for raising tens of millions of dollars for her favorite charities, which are financial literacy, public education, the arts, and also women and girls, and underserved women and girls worldwide. And I want to point out that she is the first guest in the 18 shows that Stu and I have done that we have had back. And what's so interesting when I realized it is that she was our first guest in January of this year. So she kicked off the year, and she is closing up the year today with the last show of the season. So we're truly delighted to welcome Natalie Pace back to the show.
Thank you. It's such an honor to be here.
Yes,
I
really.
love having these conversations with both of you.
Oh, good.
Thank you.
Good. We're delighted too. So I think a very appropriate way to start, especially around the whole money conversation, is how your childhood influenced you to be doing this amazing work that you do today and helping so many people to really deal with their money situation. And I know that you weren't born with a golden spoon in your mouth.
No.
So share with us about your upbringing.
You know, what I love, and also about the themes that are already circulating in this conversation, the idea of the rainbow of wealth and money being a color. You can live a very rich life even when you're poor. People around the world know this. So I am from one of the poorest neighborhoods in all of the United States. It's funny because I took one of my wealthy investment banker friends to visit my family once, and he said, "This looks like Cuba." And, because there's 10 huts, and, it's a really fairly poor neighborhood. But I didn't perceive it that way. So all of the things that I really love, and to this day I still love, going barefoot, climbing trees, eating beans, all these things that are really associated with poverty, to me, were a luscious life. But I think that the good news about that is that it made me love Main Street. So as I've learned more and more and gotten huge support from Wall Street, and a lot of Wall Street that really wants to empower Main Street, the chairman of TD Ameritrade, Nobel Prize winner Gary Becker, I have remained true to my roots. And in fact, there was a moment where I had to ask myself this question. When I was named the #1 stock picker, I was offered to start managing hedge funds. And so I asked myself, okay, what's going to make you happy, Natalie? Would you rather wake up in the morning and make rich people richer? Or would you rather wake up in the morning and try to empower Main Street with the ABCs of money that we all should have received in high school. And when honestly, it was hard because I still was pretty attached to the money color of the rainbow of wealth. It was not an easy question, but I thought, you know, I know I'm going to be happier making Main Street more empowered. I didn't know at the time how I would actually do it because the business wasn't cash positive. We didn't have a lot of investors putting cash in, and I was really tired of writing the checks myself. But I said yes anyway. And here I am 10 or 12 years later, and I feel 10 or 12 years younger, which at my age is really valuable, and I love my job. Great. Great.
You know, Natalie, you touched on this briefly in kind of describing your background a little bit, but we all have our kind of foundational points of view and perspectives on money and wealth. Can you encapsulate yours for us, that, you know, in terms of what your true sense is about money and wealth?
Well, the first thing I would say is that every cent you own and every moment you spend is always an investment. And when you start thinking of what does that really mean? It means that health is the best health insurance. It means that once you learn the ABCs of money and you put that as the foundation of your life, you shift out of making everybody else rich, which is really, unfortunately, the way the world is set up, into being a person who can take what you do on Sunday and put it into practice Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So what I see, especially with a lot of spiritual people, and I do think that financial empowerment is the next spiritual evolution, to learn how to do what we do on Sunday every day of the week. What I see with a lot of spiritual people who are thirsty for this information is that they don't know how to love their lives. They want to, and they're using the law of attraction and they're visualizing it. The reason it's not showing up isn't because they aren't good at visualization and prayer. They are very good at that. It's that if you are drinking arsenic and then praying to be healthy, it's not as efficacious as if you're drinking green juice and praying to be healthy. So I say that action is the biggest word in the law of attraction, and wisdom and right action are the way of the future in the spiritual evolution.
I would like to add a comment to that.
In fact, I'd love for you to share your foundation as well, because we each have one. We each come in with these you know, the financial scripts, if you will, that we've learned from our families, from society, our neighborhoods, et cetera.
Yes.
And some of them are, you know, more liability than asset, shall we say.
So I'd like to comment on what you said, because I'm not quite sure I agree 100% with it. I think that the key for attracting anything in our lives, whether it's money, a relationship, our career, health, whatever, is that the thoughts need to be aligned with the feeling, and then the action comes. You can have a brilliant thought, and you can put that thought very powerfully and eloquently into the field. But if you have a belief system in your subconscious that is triggering fear and doubt and worry and concern and lack of self-love, which I think is the key. Yeah. I think that people in the spiritual conversation today, I'm not sure any one of us has been taught to love ourselves, truly love ourselves without any conditionality whatsoever. I mean, I'm totally immersed in that process right now. And when I was raised, you know, I was born after the war, right after the war. My parents were immigrants. My dad from Italy, my mother from Poland. She was first generation. And you know, they came out of the Depression, they came out of the war, and they had very, very specific values, core values around money and how my brothers and I have two older brothers, were raised. Mm-hmm. And it was like money and sexuality in my family. Yeah. It's like you didn't discuss them. You know, I mean, it was like we were not educated around money. So what I remember mostly in growing up in my life was arguments around money. Yeah. And there was money, but there was never enough money. You know, so I really do get that as I deal with my own challenges around money in my life, because I have them, it really is for me to tap into what are those belief systems that I bought into that are operating my subconscious. And brilliant scientists like Bruce Lipton and Joe Dispenza, and several others who are spiritually awake scientists say that 95% of our waking state is run by the subconscious mind. 95%, that's huge. So if we have all these programs around money rattling around in our subconscious and something happens, so like we can't get our rent paid, or there's more month at the end of our money, or however that's going to show up, then we really need to be present to those patterns and shift them. And then I think when we have our thoughts in alignment with our feelings, so we can have a brilliant thought moved by a happy feeling, by an excited feeling, by, yes, universe, I'm totally ready and open to receive, then the action happens, and whatever we end up doing, whether we're investing or purchasing something or whatever, then the manifestation occurs. So that's how I see it.
Is that a question for me, or is that just a
no,
statement?
No, I'm just kind of responding to what you said, because I think until the emotional body is handled, then we're not going to be successful with the law of attraction. Because
yes, and again, I know it's not a question, it's your belief system.
Right.
But the easiest way for your emotional body to be in alignment with wisdom is through learning. So it is very important. And what I always say is that, visualization is extremely important. You have to be able to envision something. That's the first step. But it's the first step. Like if I can visualize that I want to be a surgeon, I am still going to have to, at some point, start learning about anatomy. I'm going to have to start learning about, herbs and medicines that work. I'm going to have to understand, hopefully, I would really love for this to be a part of the infrastructure of medicine, how the body heals itself. And as I start gaining mastery of the wisdom that exists out there, I start calming myself around everything. So it's really difficult to calm yourself around money if you don't have enough to pay your bills. The solution is, how can I restructure my life so that I can pay my bills? Because once you do that, there's no angst around money anymore. I'm not angst around money anymore. My business doesn't pay me and hasn't paid me a dime for 14 years. I make all of my money on investments. So I don't, in the beginning, lots of angst around that because I expected my business to pay me and I was sick of writing checks for it. Now I know how it is, 14 years later, more wise. I understand the cycles of my business. I understand why a person would still make it their primary job even if they weren't paid to do something. You see someone before you who has no angst around it. So what I'm saying is that I believe that, it's not a belief, I know. I know that visualization allows you to dream things that are not yet present for you. Vision is so important. But you are really going to do yourself a favor if you find a way shower that's full of wisdom to shine a light down the path that says, come follow me.
I agree with you. I think that that's important. It is just that our emotional body is so key, and our feelings are so key in the whole conversation around manifestation. I think this is why people get disappointed, because they're visualizing what they want and they're thinking about it, but that belief system in their subconscious may be what's creating the resistance and the blockage to that happening.
And that is true. Like the emotional, look, we have all been kind of stuck in this circle of recreating the same experiences for ourselves, whatever it is. Kind of like I've heard women say when they wanted to call in, let's say, their soulmate, and they would say, "Oh, I wanted to call in my soulmate, but all men are jerks or whatever." Well, you've just told yourself who you're going to select.
A woman. No?
Well, I have known a few women who've thought that, and then yes, that was their next choice. But you're right. That you do need, and that's part of that envisioning process, is to be able to envision something that you haven't yet experienced.
And that you can feel in your body, you can feel the feelings associated with, if that were true, this is how I would feel. Yeah. So I think we're saying the same thing. I just wanted to point out, because a lot of times this conversation is glossed over, you know, the feelings. The feelings must be in alignment with the thoughts. In fact, Joe Dispenza says our thoughts are electric, they're electricity. Our thinking is electricity. Our emotions are magnetism. And the electricity of our thoughts needs to be in alignment with the magnetism of our feelings to be successful manifestors. And I don't think that it all reflects the importance of...
I have a hard time with it because so much of what we do is our actions.
No, I was just saying, I don't think that it in any way negates the fact that action needs to be taken. You can't just be. You have to be and you have to do. You know, so it's about being present to the conversation and at the same time getting the education, selecting a mentor, you know, who can help you on that path. I think that working with mentors is really important, whatever area we're looking at.
And that's, I think that's why I am in this business and why I do it, even though it doesn't pay me, because what a lot of people don't realize is that when you walk out your door, a lot of the people who will present themselves as the expert, you know, is actually someone who is going to make more money if they convince you to buy more than you came in to buy. Whether it's the real estate broker, the stock broker.
Right, they have their own agenda.
Yeah, even at retail now, you know, if you go into a retail store and they can convince you to buy a little more, they're going to make a little more money. So I think that's why I call it life math. That's why life math is so important, because there are so many people out there that are presenting themselves as the expert. I'm the expert shoe salesman. I'm the expert stock salesman. I'm the expert real estate salesman. And the truth is that they're unfortunately incentivized to sell you more than you came in to buy. And if you are not conscious of that, and you just kind of go around from expert salesman to expert salesman, you're going to be underwater very quickly. Also, especially for the millennials today, this is really important, is that, you know, people haven't really gotten a raise in the last 3 decades. And gasoline, housing, food, all of the major expenses have quadrupled, if not more. So, you know, they'll go out there, I mean, my son is experiencing it, they'll go out there and they'll say, well, it doesn't add up. How do I pay for all this on $10 an hour, on $12 an hour? And the truth is you can't. If you are thinking that you can just get an apartment, get a job, you know, people will give you loans and then you're going to be underwater very quickly, or credit cards. And that's where the banks are making all their money these days, because people get underwater very quickly because they haven't figured out a new way of dealing with this world that doesn't add up. This world does not add up. You have to find a different way.
Well, and the bottom line, ultimately, is some kind of, ultimately it's not quantitative, it's a qualitative experience of life. That are we really loving our lives or not?
Yes.
And we've all been told the bill of goods, a lot of us have, that somehow if you have enough money, you're going to live a fabulous life.
Yeah.
And that's why people have been so focused on materialism, which of course is self-serving to all the people, as you mentioned, all the salespeople out there who are reliant upon all those transactions and consumption of things that may or may not even be necessary. And I just remember when I was growing up, and it was in the early 70s, my dad was laid off from his job. It was during the oil embargo time and the recession and everything. My mom had to go out to work.
Yeah.
She didn't mind going out to work, but she definitely minded having to go out to work.
Yes.
And the pressure in our family was like a real pressure cooker.
Yeah.
And I felt like my father was being highly emasculated in the process by not bringing home the bacon as he should have. Even though we're a Jewish family, you still got to bring home bacon, you know? And I decided
you could bring home the bread.
Bagels. Bring home the matzah, whatever. Anyway, the point being is that I took a devout vow right then and there. I was not going to let money stand in the way of my life, and I was not going to let any woman, my wife or whomever, tell me I'm not good enough because I'm not bringing enough money. Well, suffice it to say, that was enough fuel to actually have me do what you decided not to do. And that's to try and make money for rich people and become a hedge fund manager and not change their lives no matter how much money I was going to make them or lose them for that matter.
Yeah.
And it was only until in doing that and having the sharp contrast of my beloved, my soon-to-be wife, being diagnosed with cancer, and so ill, that it was really clear there was no amount of money that could really buy what I was looking for, my family was looking for, and which led me ultimately to pursue the kind of wealth that goes beyond money. Includes it, but goes far beyond it. And I think that's what we're all talking about here today, and that's at the essence of the gratitude game, right?
The essence of money at its core is gratitude. In fact, money at its core is gratitude. The reason that we lose track of that is that we chase the dollars. But money, the gratitude that we really want to share with one another when we exchange dollars, can also be time and it can be talent. So we have all kinds of different ways that we can share gratitude, but gratitude is money. Money is gratitude. We lose track of that because life is expensive and life is hard, and those people that do not value money and think that they just want to live a spiritual life, they have a hard time in the mortal realm because we do exchange our gratitude with money. So, you know, the thing is, I think, is going beyond that truncated quote from the Bible that was never true, that money is the root of all evil. It was never, that was never the quote. It was the love of money is the root of all evil, which is greed. Money is not greed. Money really at its core was gratitude. If you go back to the first time it exchanged hands, it was because someone did something for another person and they wanted to return the favor. And eventually that led to, okay, I can't bake bread for you, or I can't come clean your house. How about if I give you this money and you go do whatever you want with it? But thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Tesla, for making an electric car that's so sexy and cool. I want to buy it. I'm going to use money. Does that make sense? Thank you for solar powering my home so I can flip the light switch. If you can't be thankful for all the conveniences we have in life, it's not because they're not awesome. It's because we haven't yet figured out how to thrive. Because it's not a matter of money, it's a matter of balance.
I would agree with that. It really is a matter of balance. And particularly in the spiritual conversation, because, and if you look at the logo of our show, for example, you have that infinity symbol and the meditator in the middle in perfect balance between both worlds. That's how I look at it. You know, between the spiritual and the material world. Knowing that we're spiritual beings, having a human experience in the material world so that we can be present to our divinity and have a great time with our humanity, which includes money.
Yes,
which includes money.
And when we are able to elevate, it's almost like the Maslow's level of hierarchy, which I've just been told that Wi-Fi is now beneath basic needs. You know, Wi-Fi comes first and then basic needs. But
rebuilding the pyramid, huh?
But as you get on up that pyramid a little bit, and that's where I think a lot of spiritual, very, very spiritual beings really need to understand this, is that if you are out of alignment with your money, you are stuck on that foundational level in a lot of ways, because you cannot have peace and calm with something that you feel is really eating you alive. You know, and it's not because money is evil. It's just that it is a tougher world. It's a different world today than it was 30 years ago, and different rules apply.
It's all about perception.
And education. Like I said, you know, I always get so frustrated because people don't know anything about what I call life math. It's so funny because one of my other really good friends is a computer engineer with a master's in mathematics. And I swear, once a week I get a call, Natalie, should I do this? Should I do that? You know, it's all money really. I'm like, so funny that the math genius has to learn life math from me, you know, but that's the way it is. So it's the ABCs of money we all should have received in high school. And the reason that I wrote The Gratitude Game was because I was finding that people would read the book and then they were having difficulty implementing it. Not because they didn't understand it, but because
they weren't making the choice to do it.
Yes. So 21-day program says, day 1, do this. Day 2, do this. Day 3, do this. So you're actually applying the wisdom, applying the wisdom. It's like being, you know, if you are going to be a surgeon, you're just reading the anatomy books. Eventually you're going to have to go and actually cut open a cadaver.
So why do you call it a game? The gratitude game? Because, you know, how do you play? What are the rules here?
Well, what I've learned is, you know, as all emotionally spiritual people learn eventually, is that humor is really important to all learning. So the gratitude game, and if you look at the book cover, you see my son trying to master this silly paddle game, right? But there's this effervescence that we get when we're trying to play something. That's different than when we're trying to wrestle something into being, which is what a lot of us are doing with money. It's like, we just think we can earn more. If I just earn more, I can do it. Or this month, somehow, magically, something's going to fall out of the sky and my whole life's going to be different, you know? But it's always something that's either going to be super magical or you're going to wrestle it into being instead of just every day playing a little bit more. So there's a mantra a day, and there's you know, something to learn and something to do, but the real premise of it is to be more like a child.
Okay, so let's play a little bit here.
All right.
So day one is love, and the mantra is love.
Yes.
Okay. Now, what kind of love are you specifically talking about here? Because there's all these different kinds of love.
Right.
There's romantic love and agape love and
Yeah.
familial love and
Yeah. The exercise that you're supposed to do on day one, and this is one that I'm sure that it's a cone of many Zen masters. I remember many, many moons ago hearing about Richard Gere, and he was told, I think by the Dalai Lama, who everybody knows is my soul lover. That's the man that I aspire to be partners with, and not conjugally, just I want my light to be in alignment with his. But he told Richard Gere, go out and all day long, every single plant, every single person you pass, say I love you. Think I love you, say I love you. So I don't tell you to do that all day long, because you can still do your job, but I do tell you to do that all day long. Like for half an hour, do it all throughout that 30 minutes. And then throughout the rest of your day, think it, do it, think it. Just say, I love you. You don't have to say it out loud and embarrass yourself. The energy can be carried even if you say it in your head.
Right, you can say it with your eyes.
You can say it in a million ways. And
Yeah.
it's so if you have that at the top of your head, love, and my job is today, I love you to every single person that passes by, how does that show up for you? I mean, there are other things that you're going to do in relation to money, but what you realize is that your ability to master money, earning more, passive earning more, also can have a lot to do with you feeling more confident. And the beautiful thing about giving the gift of love is that you're giving it, but you're getting it back. Try sending a smile to someone and them not smiling back.
Right.
It doesn't happen.
Right, right. I've been really I've been doing this. You know, when I'm out and about and I'm shopping and I'm at Trader Joe's or I'm walking by someone and there's like a tight squeeze to get past the shopping carts or something, I make a point of making eye contact.
Yeah.
And when you can make that eye contact, like Sue just said, you know, you can say, I love you. Just, you know, thinking it to the other person. And there's always a spark that I get back. There's always that.
It's
because most of the
impossible not
time, we go through life with social amenities when we're out and about.
Yeah.
You know, thank you. And nobody makes eye contact. Everybody's kind of doing their thing, you know. But when we stop to make eye contact and actually send our appreciation to that person for bagging our groceries or whatever it is the service is, it really makes a difference in the quality of the transaction.
I want to relate this to money. I know we're running out of time, but this is such an important story. One time, and this is very common for me. It's not unusual. So there, you know, my girlfriend and I was teaching her how to rollerblade, and we're rollerblading down Santa Monica bike path, and this guy comes running up and he gives me a boogie board, a brand new boogie board, and she goes, "Why did that guy do that?" I said, "I have no idea, but I'm going to accept it," you know, so I accepted the boogie board. But honestly, because I go through life and I'm always thinking I love you as I pass people by or whatever,
that kind of, like, okay, it's a boogie board, but you know, I really loved that boogie board. I used it, I had a great time with it, I gave it to my son. It was great, but that wasn't the only thing I get. I get gifts all the time, even if it's the gift of a smile, but I swear to God, it's not just that. And I'm not saying, oh yeah, now it's gonna be so magical, you're gonna win the lottery. I'm just saying that when you lift the light, when you start lifting the light, this is only day one, you're going to see magic showing up everywhere. And again, there are 21 other mantras and 21 other actions you can take, but it will transform your life.
When you're talking about love,
yes,
it's also not just related to people, it's related to what you're doing, right? It could be, you could be, I love you in the task at hand,
yes,
which sounds like what you do and why you're doing what you're doing and how you do it. Yeah. You're doing it because you love it. And the truth is, I was successful as a money manager only because I loved it.
Yes.
And I loved playing the game. And I called, just like you called the gratitude, I called it a game. It was the ultimate video game of its day.
Yes.
With 7 or 8 screens all around, and things are turning green and things are turning red.
Yes.
And it had nothing to do with Christmas. and it just kind of
it could be a very good Christmas if they were all green.
Exactly, exactly. So just kind of playing these games and riding the waves and everything else. And it was only because I loved playing the game that I was able to engage in it. Yeah. And once the love factor for me started to wane, and I started to realize, you know what, I've got a different dream here now.
Yes.
I had to give it up.
Yes.
I couldn't do it anymore.
Yes. Definitely. Yeah. It's true.
Yeah. So let's talk about breathing, because I know that's a big one. And that's your second day, actually.
Okay.
So what do we? Can we just take a breath together and maybe to get the ball rolling here,
yes,
and
let's do it.
And really invite the people who are watching right now to chime in.
Okay.
This is your job to lead, by the way.
Oh, well, I'm doing it by example.
Okay, by example. Okay.
Leading by example.
Okay, so take a deep breath in, and what I like to do when I'm taking a breath in is I put an upside down pyramid on top of my crown chakra, and I throw the base off. So that when I'm breathing in divine wisdom. So breathe in divine wisdom through the upside down pyramid. And as you fill up your stomach, you can take an extra shot that goes all the way down to the root chakra and then hold that. And hold it. And then as you're exhaling, you can start exhaling out all of the flotsam and jetsam and smog of the soul. So when we're doing the breathing, that's what we're doing. And we're focusing on the mysteries and the wisdom of the stars, because they're a little smarter than we are. And breathing it in because health is wealth. And one of the other mantras is fun. I mean, I lead a very strategically fun, game-like life because health is wealth. It's the most important thing. Health is the best health insurance. Mm-hmm. So these are all mantras that, you know, they may sound all airy-fairy, but, you know, they are based in science, you know, quantum physics, health. They're based in happy hormones. They're based in endorphins.
Right, right. Just by breathing more deeply and more consciously, all kinds of neurons and everything gets triggered.
Are you a little lightheaded? I am.
A little biochemistry, a little intoxicated with the divine.
Yeah, and it's not a margarita, folks. It's only water.
Or vodka, for that matter. Yeah, so you mentioned actually in that breathing section that we can coordinate that breath, specifically with either a prayer or meditation.
Yes.
Is there some prayer or meditation that you find for yourself that's particularly activating?
Yes, absolutely. I say it every single morning. And I'm very Christian based. I guess at this point I'm probably all inclusive of the religions because I listen to kirtan and every morning. I meditate a lot. But my favorite prayer is, again, I always, every morning in my meditation, I visualize the wisdom of the stars. So you know, for me, it's the wisdom of the stars. So wisdom of the stars, and I call in different personifications of that. Sophia, the goddess of wisdom, Jesus, the best peacemaker the planet has ever known, Kuan Yin, to bring in more compassion, and Dr. J to heal my body, just different entities that just represent these different aspects of life. And then I say, okay, I'm here as a vessel for your wisdom. So can you inspire me, and I'll get out of the way. And then throughout the day, as I think things or pop in my head, I have more faith that it's actually you know when it's a divine thought or not, but it's always better
than anything I would have. I mean, my whole life is way better than anything I would have designed. I'm a literature major, you know?
That's what happens when you get out of the way, so to speak, right?
Yes,
and let
yes.
something with perhaps a little more intelligence do the doing.
That's what I say, is that, you know, listen, whoever could create galaxies is definitely like infinitely more smart than me. I'm barely having a hard time tying my shoes sometimes. So,
however, if, you know, if we are indeed spirit, right? Then we are that galaxy, we are that God being, we are a cell in the body of God, however you want to look at it. So I think when you talk about that, it's really more of our ego mind personality that needs to be surrendered. And in my practice, it's really, I begin my day with surrendering my ego mind personality to my God self. And calling in all the guides that I'm working with, and I name them all specifically: angels, archangels, Kuan Yin, Buddha, Yeshua ben Joseph, Jesus. And then my meditation is definitely guided by the breath. And what I do is I breathe in for 5, and I hold for 5, and I breathe out for 5, and I hold for 5. And if I do that continuously for 20 minutes, I am like high.
Oh,
I am like so there, and that's when I do my manifestation work, you know, because then I don't have that subconscious mind triggering me, you know, and keeping me out of self-love, because I'm so in alignment. So that's my practice. How about you?
Nice. Yeah, I big fan of breathing. I try to do it often, and with a sense of consciousness and a sense of, you know. So I'll just do a deep breath. And really invite in the possibility that there is something that created all of this, the galaxies, the stars, and all of it, that literally is doing the breathing. And I just say, you made this thing up called Stu Zimmerman. Play me. And have fun. And do some good. And it's amazing how good that feels. Just that simple, that simplicity.
Well, was it St. Francis of Assisi that said, "Let me be an instrument of your peace"?
Yes.
Yeah, that's really what we are. If we can go there and really find that balance between both worlds, then we can have lives that are truly a reflection of our greatest dreams.
So Natalie, one of the things you have in the gratitude game is calling in your board of advisors from all the wisdom of the universe. So who's on your board?
I think some of the more unusual ones is, I do even fantasy characters, so like the dude from The Big Lebowski is my humor dude, and he's also a little bit of the Zen. And I also sometimes I like to throw in the 7 dwarfs, because
now you're getting kinky on us.
I know, but I've already shared with you some of my real ones. You know that in real life, the Dalai Lama, Kuan Yin, Sophia is a huge presence in my life, obviously, because I've devoted my life to financial wisdom. So she's a big deal for me. In the Divine Masculine, I would say I like John Lennon a lot. I call him in a lot. And I also listen to Yoko Ono a lot, too. She's a good peacemaker.
Beautiful.
How about you, Patricia?
Well,
who'd be on your board?
Well, in the non-physical, spiritual realm, definitely Kuan Yin is right up at the top. Yeah, she's the bodhisattva of compassion and unconditional love, and I really aspire to emulate her in this time-space reality called the human experience. And then when we get down to people in the world, I would have to say that Oprah Winfrey is right on the top of my list. I mean, she's pretty hard to beat when it comes to generosity, compassion, wisdom. She is just marvelous and a great role model for all of us, I think. And politically, I really am inspired by JFK and Bobby Kennedy, and also John Lennon. You know, even though he wasn't in politics, he was very political.
Definitely.
And and even Dennis Kucinich, even Dennis Kucinich. In the comedy world, I would say Billy Crystal. He's really the best, and he really occurs to me to be a very integral person, where he really has his life in balance. So those are the ones that, right off the top of my head, would be on my advisory board. How about you, Stu?
Yeah, well, let's see. Well, one from the humor side of things would definitely be George Carlin. I would definitely bring him in. And he had a deep spiritual component to him as well.
He definitely did.
John Lennon, absolutely. JFK, you stole my thunder. I was going to go with him too. Walt Disney comes to mind for me. And not only for what he was able to create in the media, but he had this sense of a vision of what paradise would be like, and he put it in brick and mortar.
Yeah.
In Disneyland. It's not my idea of the happiest place on earth because the lines are too long, but God bless him. At one time, I actually, as part of my unholy trinity, would have Hugh Hefner on there. Just because, I know, roll the eyeballs and all the rest. It's not so much about his thought process, but more a matter of his using the media effectively and him also building his form of paradise in brick and mortar. And I'm a big fan of creating paradise in brick and mortar so that we can live it, and hopefully it's one that would be with Jesus Christ and Christ consciousness leading the way.
I want to put in a plug for Hugh because Christy Hefner was one of the first CEOs of a publicly traded company.
That's true.
He did a lot of things for women, and I also think, and this is another piece, it's not inside the gratitude game, but I think it's an important piece. I think we need to stop judging women by whether or not they're having sex. I think it's a huge problem.
Okay.
Can you say just a little bit more about that?
Well, in fact, I just wrote a blog on Huffington Post, and I said, let's stop using the word whore. So anytime we use words where people can be killed as a result of them, you know, we used to use racial terms to put other people down and to find a way to dehumanize them, and that's still done with women around sexuality. And so I think we need to get rid of the word whore, and I think that while, yes, you can have these negative associations with the Playboy Mansion, the one thing that they have done for women is that they have taken the idea of sexuality and they've taken away the evil part of it. And I think that's really important for all of us.
So I guess we're needing to wrap up the interview segment. And what I'd like to do is ask you, Natalie, if you could give a pearl of wisdom to our viewers. And that's your camera right over there. What would you say to them if you, whatever
I would say that I wrote the gratitude game so that you could make wealth your daily habit. So it is 21 days that is truly designed to transform your life. I actually used it as a coaching call series for the last 14 years, so it's really honed itself. I think most of us, even if we have deep spiritual practices, have an underlying debt consciousness, not because it's our parents' fault or anything like that, but because it's the programming of our society. And I want to reprogram you with the wisdom of the stars. And I want to give you life math. And that's why I wrote the book.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for your contribution to all of us in that regard. Yeah. And I'm in the process of doing it. And I would like to invite our audience, our viewers, to get a copy of Natalie's book on Amazon. And is it still downloadable for 99 cents? So you can download The Gratitude Game, 21 Days to a Healthy, Wealthier, More Beautiful You, and start doing it every day, 21 days. And Stu, we were talking about the possibility of having people send in their results, and then
so please do share with us what just share with us what your results are with doing some of these exercises, and have it be a practice. And we want to hear from you. We want to hear how your lives are changing.
Yeah, and you can just communicate with us on our website, Get Conscious Now, and let us know, and then we'll make the announcement in our January show.
Excellent.
Good. Very good. So thank you, Natalie, so very much for being with us today. That interview just flew.
My pleasure.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you, Natalie.
Yeah, thank you very much. Now it's time for a very popular segment of our show, Stu's Views. Stu Zimmerman, take it away.
Thank you, Patricia.
You're welcome.
It's usually popular with me. I can certainly say that. Okay.
It's popular with me, too.
Thank you, sweetheart.
You're welcome.
Okay, so here we go, this edition of Stu's Views. Well, this is a holiday segment, and we're starting to think now, I start thinking about, it's Christmas time, and in Get Conscious Now we're talking about Christ consciousness. which is a rather big, high topic. And the story has it that it all kind of began with Immaculate Conception. I'm more interested right now in exploring Immaculate Perception. So I'm inviting you all to have a sense of immaculate perception with me, because our reality is nothing more than whatever we're perceiving, right? That's all that it is. And we covered it earlier in the program with Natalie as well. This notion of breathing, of not only just simply breathing, but breathing with a form of prayer, meditation, or paying attention to something. So I'm inviting you right now to really consider the very real possibility that there is something called consciousness, that is something that's infinite and all-pervasive in all things, including us. And if we incorporate that with our breath, to allow for the very real possibility that this infinite thing, which clearly, if it's infinite, it must be inside of us, right? I mean, it can't be outside of us and still be infinite. So if it's infinite, then it must be, whatever we call it, God, spirit, source, universe, ham sandwich, it really doesn't make a difference. Whatever's infinite's infinite, right? And that's no place where it is not, inherently by definition. So, what if we were simply to allow ourselves to breathe? Consider yourself allowing yourself to breathe, which you're probably doing anyway. With the awareness that something that is infinite, that invented all of us out of its own infinite creativity, is literally doing the breathing. Yeah, I want you to sit with that one for a moment and really contemplate the possibility and implication of that. So I'm inviting you to take a deep breath with me right now and just consider the possibility that that which is infinite is doing the breathing. And I notice when I allow myself to do that, I start to become a little more intoxicated, a little more lighthearted, a little more tingly, and a little more delighted with life, which ultimately, isn't that what we're calling wealth? Isn't that what we're calling love? Is really that sense of spaciousness, that sense of delight, and ultimately, just such a deep sense of gratitude that somehow, whatever I think I am, whatever this Stu Zimmerman thinks it is, that it's such a blessing just simply to exist. And to exist in this life form, because I could have been a worm, or some other form of life form, or a tree that may not be so mobile, not so tactile, and not so appreciative of existence. And so I'm inviting you to practice a sense of immaculate perception, where you really give yourself permission to allow for the very real possibility that something that created all of this is living through you and me, and it's breathing, and it's looking, and it's touching, and it is living through all of us. And just maybe it can be the game and play of a lifetime, of something that takes us into realms that is so beautiful, so incredible, and possibly greater than our deepest prayers. So wishing you a very happy holiday, and may every day be a holy day to you. And with that, it's time for Patricia and her quantum quotes.
Thank you, Stu. That was lovely holiday message. Well, I didn't do a lot of research for today's quote on gratitude, because there are two quotes on gratitude that I just love and I incorporate in my own daily spiritual practice. And they are from one of my favorite scientists and luminaries today, Dr. Joe Dispenza. And Dr. Joe is a neuroscientist and an expert in the brain and the brain-body connection. And here are the quotes. The first one is, gratitude is the ultimate state of receivership. Gratitude is the ultimate state of receivership. And the second one is, quantum creating is giving thanks before the event occurs. Quantum creating is giving thanks before the event occurs. So what does this mean? Well, if we know that everything is energy, we know that our thoughts are energy, and when we think a thought, we put it out into the field. And when we can be grateful for something before it's occurred in our lives, what are we doing? We're setting the field energetically for the thing we want to happen. I call it pre-paving the future energetically for what we want to manifest or the event that we want to have happen. And I find in my daily practice, I do a lot of journaling, and I always reserve a segment of my time to do a journal, several pages on gratitude. Expressing my thanks for 5 blessings in my life that I have, like my excellent health, family and friends, and doing the work that I adore, and working with wonderful people, and living in a beautiful community, things like that. You get the idea. And I also then do at least 5 things that are blessings in my life that haven't occurred yet. Like, for example, every day I put out into the field that this television show, Get Conscious Now, move to its next level of excellence, move to its next level of reaching millions of people worldwide with this very important message about being conscious and living life consciously. Or bringing in my life partner. And when I put out into the field every day all the essence qualities that I'm looking for in a partner and in a man, I know that I'm setting the field for that to happen. So I invite you as we move into this new year to go buy yourself a lovely gratitude journal. It doesn't have to be an expensive book. Just buy something that you find attractive, and that every single day, whether it's starting your day in the morning or ending your day at night, that you write 5 things, 5 blessings in your life that you're grateful for that you have, and at least 5 things that you would like to bring into form. So thanks for joining us tonight, and have a wonderful, blessed holiday and a happy new year. And joining with our lovely guest here, Natalie and Stu, we have one last thing we want to share, and that is
Get conscious now.
Welcome to State and Fig, located in historic La Arcada Plaza in downtown Santa Barbara.
Our menu focuses on products that are raised in the state of California, inspired by the flavors of the Riviera.
And we are proud to be sponsoring this program.
I'm attorney Gregory Lowe. I will prepare your trust, bankruptcy, divorce, conservatorship, probate, evictions. All of this I can do at an affordable price and with caring. Thank you very much.
When I was growing up as a kid, I used to go around with him and watch him.
My mother and I both worked at Lowry Field.
To keep on doing this together.
Get Conscious Now is proud to be sponsored by American Riviera Bank. It's our bank, and we feel good about it.
Hi, I'm Kelly Brandenburg. I've been a stylist for the last 15 years. I'm a color specialist, as well as I provide a wide variety of other services. You can find me at 19 Blue Salon in the heart of downtown. I'm happy to be a sponsor of Get Conscious Now.